Hi everybody, welcome back to the Library Mouse. So today I thought I would do something a little different. The February 14th USA Today bestseller list just came out today. So I thought that we would take a look at the top 5 books trending today in the United States from the USA Today book list and also compare it to the New York Times book list. And it's a big change for USA Today from what was in the top last week. Fantasy predominated last week, and I do see a shift this week in what's on the USA Today bestseller top 5. The New York Times still has a lot of fantasy. So let's take a look at what's trending this week. Not surprising, a book from the Court of Thorn and Roses series is number 5 on the list. It is the first book, A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. And this is such a popular book that I have heard so much about. It is a sexy, action-packed first book in the Court of Thorns and Roses series. It is about a 19-year-old huntress named Fire who kills a wolf in the woods. A terrifying creature arrives to demand retribution. Dragged to a treacherous magical land she knows only from legends, Fire discovers that her captor is not truly a beast, but one of the lethal immortal fairies who once ruled her world. I never read fantasy. If you are not a fantasy reader, but you have read this book and it is wonderful and you think I should read it, let me know in the comments below. I never read fantasy, but this has had everywhere on BookTube. Everyone is reading this series, and I'm just wondering, should I pick it up? I'm curious. Number 4 on the list is Bride by Allie Hazelwood. This is a dangerous alliance between a vampire bride and an alpha werewolf becomes a love deep enough to sink your teeth into in this new paranormal romance. Yes, so I have not read this book. It is a number 1 bestseller in werewolf and shifter romance. It is the number 1 indie next pick, and it is a Hall of Fame library reads pick. So it has a 4.6 rating on Amazon, but this one is number 4. Okay, number 3 on the list is The Teacher by Frida McFadden. Lesson number 1, trust no one. Eve has a good life. She wakes up each day, kisses her husband Nate, and heads off to teach math at the local high school. All is as it should be, except last year, Kasem High was rocked by a scandal involving a student-teacher affair, with one student, Addie, at its center. But Eve knows there is far more to these ugly rumors than meets the eye. Addie can't be trusted. She lies, she hurts people, she destroys lives. Nobody knows the real Addie. Nobody knows the secrets that could destroy her, and Addie will do anything to keep it quiet. That sounds pretty good. Right now, it is the number 1 bestseller in the Kindle store. I'm a teacher. I also don't ever read suspense, thriller, or anything like that, but this might be an interesting book. I definitely am intrigued by reading the Amazon blurb. So, The Teacher by Frida McFadden. Okay, number 2 on the list is If Only I Had Told Her by Laura Nolan. This is the number 1 bestseller in teen and young adult contemporary romance right now. It is an intensely emotional and gripping companion novel to If He Had Been With Me. Here's the blurb from Amazon. If only I had told her that I loved her years ago, then I wouldn't be here now. Finn has always loved Autumn. She's not just the girl next door or his mother's best friend's daughter. She is his everything, but she's not his girlfriend. That's Sylvie, and Finn would never hurt her, so there's no way Autumn could know how he truly feels. But Jack, Finn's best friend, has seen Finn and Autumn together, and how could she not know? Autumn surrounds herself with books and wants to write her own destiny, but one doesn't always get a new chapter, and fate can be cruel to those in love. It is told through 3 different perspectives. It's a love story brimming with truth, tragedy, and the unexpected bonds that heal us. Okay, well, no surprise here that the number 1 book from USA Today is Kristen Hanna, The Women. This is a tale of 20-year-old nursing student Frankie McGrath, who joins the Army Nurse Corps during the Vietnam War, and along with her and her friends, the real battle lies in coming home to a changed and divided America, to angry protesters, and to a country that wants to forget Vietnam. Sounds like a really great book. It's number 8 this week on the Amazon charts. And definitely it is on my list to read. So those are your top 5 books this week from USA Today. Let's take a look at what the New York Times has to say. Okay, number 5 on the New York Times list for this week, February 18th, is The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store by James McBride. This is another book that is definitely going on my TBR list. It says in 1972, when workers in Pottstown, Pennsylvania, were digging the foundation for a new development, the last thing they expected to find was a skeleton at the bottom of a well. Who the skeleton was and how it got there were 2 of the long-held secrets kept by the residents of Chicken Hill, the dilapidated neighborhood where immigrant Jews and African Americans lived side by side and shared ambitions and sorrows. As these characters' stories overlap and deepen, it becomes clear how much the people who live on the margins of white Christian America struggle and what they must do to survive. I think it sounds really good. It was on the USA Today's top 5 from last week, and definitely one that I want to pick up. If you've read it, let me know below what you think of it. Not surprisingly, number 4 is a Sarah J. Maas book from the Crescent City series. This is House of Earth and Blood. This is book number 1. It is it's a number 1 New York Times bestseller. Her brand new Crescent City series begins with the House of Earth and Blood, the story of half fae and half human Bryce Quinlan as she seeks revenge in a contemporary fantasy world of magic, danger, and searing romance. Bryce Quinlan had the perfect life, working all day and partying all night until a demon murdered her closest friends. When the accused is behind bars but the crimes start up again, Bryce finds herself at the heart of the investigation. She'll do whatever it takes to avenge their deaths. Okay, book number 3 is Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. It's the Empyrean book number 2, coming after The Fourth Wing. Everyone expected Violet Sorrengail to die during her first year at War College, Violet included, but threshing was only the first impossible test meant to weed out the weak-willed, the unworthy, and the unlucky. Now the real training begins, and she's wondering how she's going to get through it. It's not just that it's grueling and maliciously brutal, it's the new vice commandant, who's made it his personal mission to teach Violet exactly how powerless she is unless she betrays the man she loves. The Fourth Wing is the book that I see everyone talking about. It has won so many awards. We'll talk about that on the next slide. Hint, hint, it's number 2. But The Iron Flame, number 3 on the list. As promised, book number 2 is The Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. And this book has won so many awards. A New York Times bestseller. It is Amazon Best Book of the Year number 4, Apple Best Book of the Year 2023, Barnes & Noble Best Fantasy Book of 2023, NPR Books We Love 2023, Audible Best Book of 2023, Hudson Book of the Year, Google Play Best Books of 23, Indigo Best Books of 23, Goodreads Choice Awards semifinalist, Paste Magazine's Best Book of 23, and Newsweek Staffer's Favorite Book of 2023. Why haven't I read this book yet? So it is 20-year-old Violet was supposed to enter the scribe quadrant, living a quiet life among books and history. Now the commanding general, also known as her mother, has ordered Violet to join the hundreds of candidates striving to become the elite dragon rider. But when you're smaller than everyone else and your body is brittle, death is only a heartbeat away, because dragons don't bond to fragile humans. They incinerate them. She'll need every edge her wits can give her just to see the next sunrise. It sounds really good. If there's a fantasy book I might pick up, maybe it will be this book. We'll see. Last but not least, in the number 1 spot on the New York Times bestsellers list this week is The House of Flame and Shadow by Sarah J. Maas. It is book number 3 in the Crescent City series. It's also number 1 on the Amazon charts this week. It is the stunning 3rd book from following The House of Earth and Blood and The House of Sky and Breath. Bryce Quinlan never expected to see a world other than Midgard, but now that she has, all she wants is to get back. Everything she loves is in Midgard, her family, her friends, her mate. Stranded in a strange new world, she's going to need all of her wits about her to get home again, and that's no easy feat when she has no idea who to trust. In this sexy, breathtaking sequel, the Crescent City series reaches new heights as Bryson Hunt's world is brought to the brink of collapse, with its future resting on their shoulders. So, there we have it, everybody. The top 5 books on the New York Times list, the top 5 books on USA Today list. Hopefully you find something new. I know I have, and something that you might want to read. So tomorrow I will be sharing the top 5 in the nonfiction category. And I'm looking forward to that because I'm always looking forward to new nonfiction books. So thanks for stopping by. If you like the video, please give me a thumbs up, and you're welcome to subscribe. I appreciate everybody who's stopped to watch the video, and I will see you on the next one. Happy reading!